Hello viewers, my name is Adam and this is Siki Media Productions. And in this video, we're going to review the movie. Whoa, that's not wrong. Hello viewers, my name is Adam and this is Siki Media Productions. And in this video, I'm going to review the anime series Erased. Nailed it. So Erased was released in winter of 2016 and lasted 12 episodes. Quick thing though, I like to mention that I'm very picky when it comes to anime. I may stick to 1 to 2 genres, that's anime action and the thrillers. And I didn't know much about this anime until someone recommended it to me. And of course, before I recommend something, I had to do some research and do pretty much a checklist when it comes to me watching an anime. And that's look up the series, the studio, and of course, testing out the opening. I really like this opening. It's from Asian Kung Fu Generation, most known for their openings to the series Naruto, and also I believe they did Full Alchemist one time. But in this series, finding this one was very pleasant because it was breath of fresh air from that season of anime. I wasn't a big fan of what was being shown, and I tried at least 1 or 2 ones, but none of them lived up to its potential. This one, though, pretty much stood out from the crowd. And what I'm talking about is that this series really took some risks in the storytelling. So what is Erased about? Well, Erased tells the story of Satoru Fujinuma, a young, inspiring manga writer who delivers pieces for a living. Now, that sounds very mundane enough, but every once in a while, Satoru tends to have this knee-jerk reaction, a force of nature that compels him to pretty much rewrite history. Yes, this series has a time travel element to it that pretty much is the pitch of the entire series. Now, the series doesn't necessarily flesh out this concept, and we don't even know the reasons why or necessarily how Satoru develops this ability. So already we have this big plot hole in the series because for some reason the writers of it don't want to explain away how he's developed this type of ability, but we're going to come back to that in my issues, and I'm going to tell you pretty much the other premise of this plot, which is him jumping back in time much further than he has ever done in the series when he's elementary school and 10 years old. This has occurred because in the present day, his mother, Sachiko, is a news reporter, and for some reason she gets these evidence of the murder of 3 victims in his classroom. These victims are young little girls. And the murderer comes back and pretty much tries to clean house. And after he attacks his mother in the present and about to pretty much get to him, he basically suddenly jumps back in time. And so the rest of the series pretty much takes off from there. Yeah, the series gets into some very sensitive subject matter. And the subject matter is basically domestic abuse towards children. It's very sensitive, and I'm actually quite proud that this series actually handles it the way it does. It's very heart-wrenching when you see these children are being victimized, especially this one by the name of Kaio. And throughout the series, as a young child, Satoru has to navigate through evidence and suspects and pretty much find out who the murderer is, and also try and protect these classmates of his while pretty much preventing what's going to happen in the present day. Now, as far as murder mystery goes, it's quite predictable, and I kind of feel as though that the series at the end of the day isn't really about who done it, because immediately in at least the second episode, when they're pretty much laying out all the characters, it's one of those predicaments where you can guess who the murderer or the antagonist is in the series. I myself, I didn't really want that to be the case because it felt too obvious. But throughout the series, it's actually about Satoru developing this self-respect and pretty much want to have this self-responsibility thrown upon him because he has the ability to jump back in time. So I should go into characters about now, in which we'll start off with the main character. Satoru, at the beginning of the series, he's this self-reclusive type character. He keeps a lot of things to himself, and even though that he has this ability to time travel sometimes, he keeps it to himself. But he feels though that sometimes that when it happens, he has a responsibility upon himself to figure out really quickly what went wrong and how he's going to solve it. And throughout the series, he develops his self-respect, and because he is admired by the superhero character when he's a child, he feels compelled that even more so to help these three victims out. And when it comes to these three victims, the first one he develops this very close bond with, which is by the name of Kayo. Kayo, she's a very shy and very reclusive character in her own right, because her parent, her mother, is not really the best person to be a parent at all, and she's pretty much at the heart of the series when it comes to the domestic abuse. But it's through her relationship with Satoru is where she begins to open up and she feels safe. And even though she's a child and he's a child during this time period, hopefully he can make it out alive. It's very touching. Even though it gets pretty inappropriate at times. Yeah. For some reason, when he does go back in time, he still has this consciousness of a 29-year-old man in a 10-year-old body. So good for the series to have this self-aware nature of it and poke fun at the times where he feels that he's pushing some boundaries when he's has a close relationship with this young girl in his classroom. But they do play it safe, thankfully. Of course, not to mention that Satoru's mother, Sachiko, is also an amazing person in her own right. She is a single mother taking care of her kid by herself. Kudos to her. And she's very supportive in his actions. And during the past sequences, she gets a hint of what he's trying to do, and she admires it. So she does everything she can to help young Satoru out, trying to protect this young girl, Kayo. And also, who is also very supportive in this endeavor is young Kinya, a young male classmate of his. He takes a very good stride when he notices Satoru doing this thing, and he feels that he wants to do the same thing as well, as he himself is an aspiring lawyer. So him hanging around with Satoru being heroes in their own right makes us some very good character interactions in the series. I'm not going to get into other characters as they are very spoilerific, so I'm going to spare you the details there because this series, at the end of the day, is worth it. The series, I'm going to take issue with the fact that time travel is a thing. It really should have developed how and why he has his ability. It's a lingering thought that this series has, but I will give the series some solid ground because it does focus mainly on him protecting these three victims the way he does. And as far as production goes, wow, Studio A1 is remarkable when it came to this series. I'm pretty sure by the first glance, I said to myself, I need to see this in theaters because the attention to detail in the environment, the cinematography, and the art direction is pretty much what makes this series worth watching, as well as the solid nature of its themes. The way that the camera moves and the animation is flawless. Like, it's pretty much makes a beautiful cinematic experience, even though there's a television series of 12 episodes. It pretty much helped signify and helps ground what the series is all about, which is this admiration of childlike wonder. And also, when it does delve into those very serious matters, the production also helps out way there. The music, the score, has such whimsical nature despite its serious undertones. And of course, that opening sequence by Asian Kung Fu Generation is not pretty bad itself. So at the end of the day, I will give Erased a really, really good rating. Despite its unwilling nature to actually discuss how time travel works, it does it very subtly, but it doesn't get away from the fact of what the messages and the characters does for the series. They handle things pretty seriously and honestly, and the series should be applauded for that mainly. Sure, it's a murder mystery and it gets predictable near the end, but it does make for a satisfying realization for its character of Satoru. And so there you have it. That was my anime review for the series Erased. Please, if you like this, like, share, and subscribe. My name is Adam, and this has been a Seeking Media Productions. Thanks for watching.